Hi all, Coach Andy here. Great to be back with you in the new year after a few weeks off where I was basically locked in my house working by myself. This is going to be so much more fun. Get in the chat, say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I always love to know that. Let me know if you're in one of my programs. Maybe you're a boot camper or a leader. Got a lot to cover with you today. I thought long and hard about this talk. We're going to talk about career mistakes and fixes. Look at this. I started writing my notes. That's a half an inch. That's 64 note cards we're covering today. I'm not apologizing about the length because I want to spend some time with you. All right, where is everybody? Get in. Let me say hi. Who's here? Gina A. Jones, or is that Gina Jones maybe? Andy, what's up? How are you? Douglas from around the block. Mechanoid Press, what's going? Jack, my boot camper, how are you? Kay, Liana, David, Debbie, who else? Enterprise Culture, whoever else, Sophia, everybody in the house, get in, say hi. Tell me right away before I tell you what today's all about. Tell me what you think is your biggest career mistake. Now, I may not go through everything, but I watch the chats after all these shows. I watch them multiple times, so I go in and I make notes. Now, today's talk could have been 5 different talks. It really could have 5 separate talks. I could have talked all month about this. But get in, say hi. Really let me know how you're doing. I did want to spend a lot of time. I poured a lot into this talk today. So today I want to talk to you about, it's 2026. I'm going to give you 26 of what I think are the worst career mistakes that set us back. Time, money, years. So 26 for 26, I'm not just going to give you the mistakes, I'm going to give you the tips. But I'm only going to give you this talk on one maybe condition in 3 parts. First thing is, this is not about beating yourself up. No education is free. So in order to live life, the only way to make progress is to make mistakes and learn from them. I make them every day, and the ones I make tend to be severe. They cost me not just moments of time, but years and lots of money because I take big swings, and I'm okay with that. So number 1, do not beat yourself up. Number 2, do not wish you had a time machine. The Andy time machine I always talk about. We're not going back, we're going forward, and it doesn't matter if you're 22 or 60, near 60 like I am. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to give you the tips. I broke it up into 5 sections. Career design, kind of how you go through and the trajectory of your career. Career growth, how you elevate. On the job mistakes, that's number 3. Number 4 is job searching and career changing mistakes. And number 5 is relationship and networking mistakes. And the other thing that I want you to know is you might hear me echo a few times today. Not technically, but repeat myself, because some of these mistakes, they go through different phases throughout your life. They fall into different categories, and a lot of the fixes can handle not just one, but several of these mistakes. So, who's charged? Give me an I'm charged in the chat. Let me see. Mallard 215 is already number 1. Being unclear about a goal. Let's see. Hey, from San Antonio, Andy, getting too comfortable in a particular role. I love it. Losing, well, I don't love that you're having an issue, but I like that you guys are spitting out the issues. Always saying yes. Actually, I want you to say yes early in your career. I want you to say no later in your career. So that's a really good one. Loyalty to a leader or company, being too shy about flying. Oh man, this is good stuff. Okay, I can't wait to get through this. All right, let's get rolling because it's going to take a little bit of time. I got 64 of these little beauties. All right, part 1, just want to let you know where we are. We're going to talk about career design. And what do I mean by career design? So the first thing is, I want you to think of career design not as a destination that you want to go, like I want to be a CIO. Okay, that's not career design. That's having a weird arbitrary goal. But I want you to think of career design as I'm going to pick a lane, like a swimming lane for myself, and I'm going to stay in the lane. I mean that in a good way. I want you to have a plan, and I don't want you to fall in love with the plan. I want you to fall in love with the planning process. And I want you to get in a lane, and I want to make sure that while you're in the lane, you know you're always making smart decisions about who you are, how you thrive, and all that good stuff. So the first mistake related to that is not designing your career deliberately. When you were, I was a 22-year-old electrical engineering graduate. I had the degree and everything to prove it. It's somewhere in this house. But I didn't want to go be an engineer. That was just not for me. Engineers are awesome, but that just wasn't for me. And so I picked a job that I thought would give me possibilities, but I didn't stay in that job for 40 years. Right? I used it to introduce myself into the world that was out there. I don't want a 22-year-old making my career choice for me today at 59. And so I just want you to think about, what does deliberation look like? Where does it start? Let's talk about that as the fix. So the first fix that I would say, for those of you that go to the Andy School of Job Searching and Career Clarity, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to identify the requirements that you need personally that create a figurative, if not literal, environment that you will thrive in. That's the greatest first place to start. What makes me happy? I want to work with these kind of people. I want to work in a job I love, but the job I love has these things about it. It lets me use my technical skills. I'm working with wonderful people. I'm creating ideas to address ambiguous problems that may have many solutions. It requires me to be creative. I have a boss who supports me. I work in this kind of town. Whatever it is, these are unique to you. But not having these makes you react to whatever's available, and you don't truly investigate whether you're stepping into an environment or a role where you're going to thrive. So this is the first place I want you to start. I call them happiness factors. For those of you that have not been in any of my premium programs, a video out there, how to start your job search in the right place. Even though this is career design, I go into nauseating detail about how to do this. And I will give you more resources here at the end of each section of how to address some of these tips. All right, so that's number one. The second thing is following fads versus building foundational skills. Now, I know we get susceptible to this because, and especially now more so than when, say, I started my career. When I started my career in 1988, we didn't have the internets and we didn't have Instagram and TikTok and every other thing floating across a device that's a computer that you could also use to make phone calls. We didn't see a lot of that. We didn't know what was out there to the extent that we do now. And with the ability that's positive to be able to see opportunities, nothing is free. And we also get very, very distracted. And distraction is going to be the biggest contributor to your failures, is you not being able to focus. So when you see something new, don't just race to it, investigate it. But I want you to build foundational skills. I want you to pick an opportunity, a role, companies where you will be able to grow foundational skills. And I will talk about what I mean here in a second. But the first thing related to the issue is following fads. So how do you fix that? So let me give you a couple of tips in order to help make you more insulated from doing that and getting you on the right track. So what I always like to say is identify what won't change. Yes, I'm going to explain what I mean, and build skills around that. So what do I mean? So I know some of you are out there maybe snickering and saying, well, Andy, the only constant is change. And technically that is true. Technologies change, processes change, companies change, you change. But what I mean is, if no matter where you are in your career, but especially if you're young, but it doesn't really matter. When I say identify what won't change, I mean things like this. So I want you all just to think for a second about yourself. I'm a customer of a lot of things. I order things online. I get things delivered to my home. I go into store, whatever it is. And for all time, ever since I could ever remember, and today, and I'm sure forever and ever, I will always want whatever I want as fast as humanly possible. Meaning, when I order a delivery, I want the delivery to come immediately. I wish they could teleport it to me. That's what I mean by won't change. That is a trait that I have. And so let me give you a little story. I think I've told this a time or two. But a couple of years ago, my beloved little Ginger, one of my doxies, was sick on Memorial Day. And I knew she was sick and I knew she was in pain. And I wanted to get her to the hospital. And I figured, because our vet was not open that day, so I knew the hospital, the 24/7 doggy and animal hospital would be open. But what I didn't want to do, I was actually working in the morning and I didn't want to sit there for hours, but I knew I was going to take her because she was in pain. So I call up the hospital. They say, oh yeah, you can just walk in. Of course, the wait will be really long. So we have this system. If you will go in and put your dog's name in, and maybe she's been here before, or if not, put whatever information you can in there to expedite that process. Tell me your cell phone number. Tell me exactly where you live. Put the address in place, and we will send you a text when we want you to pack the dog up and come. And that way you won't have to wait. And so I did that. And 3 hours later, I got a text. And then I drove to the place, which was about 25 minutes away, which they knew because they had my address. Probably had real-time traffic. I walked in the door. I went to the front desk. I said, I'm here. They said, sign this. We'll call you in a minute. 5 minutes later, bang, my wife and I and the dog were going in to see the vet. And I said to my wife, I got to find out what software they're using, because if that's a publicly traded company, I'm just going to go home tomorrow and buy some stock in that company. Because why? I'm always going to value my time. I'm always going to want expedited service, right? I'm never going to want to sit in a hospital or a doctor's office or anywhere for that matter. That will never change. That's what I mean. Now, if you're looking and evaluating your roles, your career, or the companies that you want to pursue, I want you to look at these things with that in mind. Are you joining a company whose product or service solves a problem that will never change? That's it. You need those three things. Product and service solves the problem that will never change. Ever. It will never go away. The medium by which it is handled might change. New technologies might change. You might get an AI bot who does it. That might change. But I assure you that company is probably going to thrive for a very long time, and you are going to have to build skills that are going to be in demand forever and ever. That's what I mean when I say won't change. That will never change. I will never want better service. I will never not want better service. I will never not want more money. I will never not want more return on my investment. I will never want stuff faster. I will never not want that, ever. Boom. Then you figure out what skill sets you can build in order to support that. That's 2. Okay. Along the same lines. Number 3, I never want you actually not understanding what employers pay for. Okay. What a lot of you think, and I know this, and when I say when a lot of you think, I want you to know that I'm speaking from nearly 40 years of work experience, nearly 20 as a corporate leader, 18 or 19 as an executive recruiter, and another 10 as a career coach. There was some overlap in there, obviously, but that's where I'm drawing my conclusions from. And people don't understand. They think they have to chase the fads in order to build skills so they can get hired, and that's not true. Yes, it's helpful if you are current, you are up on the latest trends, not fads, meaning the technology is just improving. Are you keeping up with the improvements in the technology? That's what I mean. So understand that employers pay for multiple things. They pay for skills that will always be in need, a la my point number 2, and they pay for their own change and transformation. So the fix for number 3 is, I want you to see the fix for number 2. I want you to make sure you're building the right skills and you're capturing your ongoing wins in relation to leveraging those skills to help your team, your boss, your clients, your company, your community, your market, your industry transform, because you're going to need this when you sell yourself. It's important. Employers would rather have a technologist who's organized, a good communicator. You all need great communication skills. That's why I wrote a communication book that comes out in October. So I want you to make sure, because I know that the need for communication, speaking, writing, presenting, pitching, persuading, all of that will never go away. So I wanted to write a book that could stand the test of time. That's how I want you looking at this. What are the skills that will always be paid for? And speaking of viability, number 4 is believing that employment equals stability. Nothing could be further from the truth. I don't care how long you've been at that company. I don't care how long the company's been in existence. Your employment is predicated on some of the things I already mentioned, but your ability to also keep up with the latest and the greatest. And the two things that I would recommend that you do in order to improve the stability of your career and your employment is, number one, again, I would build skills that never go out of style. And number two, I would make sure that I'm networking weekly. And we're going to talk more about this in the last section. But these two components right here, constantly building practical real world experience and skills. I'm not saying go back to school. In fact, I'm telling you not to. I'm talking about building skills on the job that truly matter, or build yourself a sandbox in your house, but do something to build the right skills and make sure you're keeping up with people and you're creating new relationships on an ongoing basis, because you make a lot of these networking mistakes, which I'm going to cover here in a few sections. And then the last one around this section out is underestimating what you can accomplish over your career. This is a big deal, and it sets you in the wrong trajectory, and it keeps you changing because you don't think you can start that business, write that book, or whatever it is that feels like a Mount Everest to you. So let me be a little bit more clear here. So what's really funny is most people that I talk to think they can accomplish a ton in a day, in a single day, maybe even in an hour. They overestimate what they think they can accomplish in the hour. And then they underestimate over the course of their 45-year career or whatever it's going to be, that they cannot achieve certain things. So the fix here, and I'll give you some examples, is I want you to be deliberate. Like I said initially, I want you to have a long-term plan, and I want you to stack the long-term plan with short-term focus and wins. So let me give you an example from my life. In 2019, I decided that I wanted to run a leadership coaching program that was going to demystify the maze that is career development, help you understand the career skills you should build, the order in which you should build them, what the ROI is on building those skills, how to make that ROI happen. Then I'm going to teach you all of these different lessons, and I'm going to teach you all of these different skill sets using these lessons, and I'm going to build that over time. And that's something that will never go away, meaning I just need to show up each month. I just need to do that the first time. So the first time when I started this program, this leadership coaching program, is all I needed was a lesson, March 2019. And I said, I will talk about building confidence and the overall concepts of leadership development to kick us off with the inaugural topic. I didn't even know what the second topic was going to be. But I said to myself, what is my outcome? What could my outcomes be? I will have an ongoing membership. Awesome. I will be able to meet every month with people who are ambitious professionals who want to develop themselves. I have a lot to teach them. They could use my help. Love it. Great. I might be able to speak. I might be able to, as I build a universe, this library of lessons, I might be able to write a book from those lessons. The lessons are already done. And what happened? In 2024, the Zebra Code was published, but I started pitching that book in 2022, started writing it in 2022. And that was just 3 years later because I had all the material already. Well, if I would have thought about writing a book, that's pretty daunting. So I don't think in those terms. I think in get in the lane. What could happen in the lane? What are my opportunity points? What are potential opportunity? I go speak, or a number of things. But the one thing is I'm going to have a foundational business that I can offer to help people. I write books and so on. I don't think I can't write a book. I don't think about writing a 50,000 or 100,000 word book. That book's 100,000 words. My newest book's 55,000 words, so about half. I think about, I'm not an author. I write 1,000 words a day. That's it. In 50 days, the book is done. That's how I think. Those are the short-term wins. The win happens every day. I don't think I need to create a big YouTube channel. I think about give them a live show each week. Give them a video each week. At the end of the year, that's 100. So that's how I think. But most people, they try to eat the elephant in one bite mentally and physically. So it's very, very difficult. I do not want you to underestimate what you can accomplish. In October, I will have my 5th book out. I've got at least 5 more in me. So then maybe that's one a year for the next 5 years. I don't know. But the point is, it's a lot easier when you think about being in the lane and then just do your day in and day out that contributes to that deliberate planning. I didn't know exactly when the book was going to come out. I knew that was a possibility. I had the ideas and I was building the framework. So that's what I mean. All right, so that's group number one. And then some assets. I broke these up into free, real low budget, and bigger budget. I did mention this earlier, how to start your job search in the right place. It's a free video on my YouTube channel. If you want very minimal resources, the interview intervention book, I will ship this to you anywhere in the world for $7 US. The ebook alone on Amazon is $9. I'll give you the ebook for free. I'll give you the audiobook, which you can't get anywhere else, and I'll give you some other stuff. This has a lot in it about designing your career deliberately. The front chapter is literally titled, "The World Actually Does Revolve Around You," and I try to position you in a spot where you can figure out what makes you tick and work, and then how to actually evaluate opportunities because you have clear career clarity and you're not reacting. So that's one item. And then the zebra code, if you want to build your career development plan, there's this book. This book is a little bit more money, but I will ship it to you anywhere in the world. No shipping charge. I think it's now $24 from me, or you could pay $30 from Amazon, either which way. But I'll tell you what, because I love you so much, even though we stopped our promotion, if you get this from me or Amazon and you send Kara the receipt at support@milewalk.com, I will give you $300 in career development lessons. So it's a pretty great deal. How to build your skill plan, which is in the book, but I'll also give you the video associated with it, as well as some other things related to communication and imposter syndrome and some other stuff. All right. And then the least budget friendly, but the highest value are the two premium programs that I have. The job search coaching program, designing your career, finding the right job, the leadership coaching program. These are both my signature programs. The leadership coaching program is not for leaders, it's to build leaders. And it teaches you about career skill building. It's really wonderful. That's a membership. The job search coaching program is a one and done. Okay. And because I love you so much, I want, if you're here with me live, and live, meaning when I'm shooting this video, is January 8, I think it is, January 8. But on January 15, in this slot, I have a job search networking workshop. It's in the live office hour slot on January 15th. It's free. If you are watching this replay before January 15th, stop on down. If you are watching this on January 16th, 2026 or later, that video is no longer available to you. So it's a limited edition. So hop on down. And as I take a sip of this really great lemon ginger tea, if you're getting value out of this, please make sure you do a couple things. Number one, you like it. Number two, you subscribe. And number three, if you're watching me on the recording, I'm sure I have a download booklet that outlines everything I'm talking about, as well as all these resources. So grab that. But if you're here with me live, we don't have that yet. All right. And Kara will drop those links in the chat if you're interested in checking them out. All right. Part two, career growth, skill development, these two. So career design, the lane I'm going to be swimming in, okay? Career growth, how fast you're going to be swimming, how long you're going to be swimming, all of that good stuff. So we're going to talk here about how do you amplify that lane? How do you get better at what you do? How do you do more of it? What are the mistakes and fixes? Okay, number one, setting goals, big mistakes, setting goals without clarity, information, or alignment. What does this mean? Okay, well, the first thing is, are you an accountant? Because your mom and dad were an accountant. Do you want to be a CIO? If I had a nickel for every tech guy that I recruited, who, when I asked about career aspirations, said, well, I want to be on a track so I could be a CIO or a CTO. And my question was, what the hell you want to be one of those for? Do you have any idea what they do? Do you have any idea how frustrating it is? Do you have any idea how little power you actually have? Why do you want to be that? Do you know anything about that? Right. So they work toward things that they don't have a clue. And so, or is that even who you are? Does that align with what makes you jump out of bed every morning? So the fix is I want you to try things when you're young. I want you to pick a lane based on your requirements that I talked about earlier. I want you to gather data. I want you to gather real world experience, meaning try it before you commit and start setting goals. But a lot of you set goals without information and you start working toward things that you absolutely hate, or you're not making progress because you're just not any good at it. So, and then I want you to keep going. So this is all about making sure that you do not set a goal. Do not become a lawyer because you think being a lawyer is cool. 80% of lawyers don't want to be lawyers. That ought to tell you something. So maybe why don't you go and spend a day or a week or a month or a year in a law firm and see what that looks like? Or do you want to be a doctor? 10 years of schooling or whatever it is these days? So you get what I'm saying. That's mistake number one. It costs you decades at least. All right, number two, not building the right skills and not practicing. All right. So when I think about these skills, people don't either. They fall into different buckets. I don't know what skills to build. Fine, I'm okay with that. You at least don't know what you know you don't know it. That's fine. Other people building skills they think they need to be building because they think they're going to get paid for it or they think that's what's necessary, which it isn't. So how do you decide what skills that I should build? So we got two problems here. I got to pick the right skills and I have to create time and know how to practice them. Okay, so what do? First thing you do is you set your goals. Where should the goals be set? The goal should be set on personal aspiration and professional aspiration, meaning, I should say, forget the first word I used. Individual aspiration and corporate professional aspiration. An individual aspiration might be, well, Andy, I'm a subject matter leader in the healthcare space, in the data and cloud area. We create tools that help healthcare organizations capture data, blah, blah, blah. Great. Okay. As part of my job, I need to sell. Great, you got selling skills that are already in line with what you do. But individually, I have a goal of being more known in the industry. I want to be a speaker at events. That is an individual aspiration outside of your organization. Both of those are really great areas to figure out what are my goals. Then, if you're committed to the goal because you've already gathered data, you already know it's important, you already know you absolutely want to do it and all that good stuff, then what you do is you identify the skills that make you better at attaining those goals. Let me give you an example because I think this is easy for you to understand. I was a business-to-business corporate leader. I sold consulting technology services. I marketed, I sold, I serviced, I ran business units, I ran HR department. I ran the whole unit. So I understood all that stuff. Okay, then I became an executive recruiter. I was still a business-to-business seller of business services, consulting services, which happen to be recruitment services. So I'm making sales on the phone or one-to-one with you. We didn't do a lot of video sales back then, or I was sitting across the table or I was sitting across the dinner table making my sales. All right, well, when I wanted to be a coach in this capacity and I wanted to help you offer products and services to help you in your career, whether it was find a job or develop your skills, I needed to learn how to communicate in this fashion, meaning through a camera. But I didn't just need to know how to use a camera. The skill was, well, I have to understand what it is I need to teach them. So there's a knowledge domain. There's knowledge of the domain. I need to know how to teach. That is different. Just because you can doesn't mean you can teach. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you're a good teacher. Okay, so I have to learn how to structure a talk. Well, I have to create the talk. I have to get good at that. That's another skill. Okay, then I need the delivery. I need to be able to deliver it through a camera while I'm not having an internal conversation with myself about what I need to teach them. So there's delivery, there's performance, there's entertainment and excitement. They're in pain, they're in fragile states. I have to learn a skill in order to figure out the topic, figure out the information, structure it in a manner that's educational, then actually deliver it. Well, that's a skill. So if I want to get better at being able to have literally zero latency between this thing up here and this thing right here, right? What's coming out? That's what the first thing you notice about somebody who tries to shoot videos initially is there's latency between their processing and the speed in which it comes out of their mouth. All right, well, all of that has to be improved. Well, that means I need to practice that. So if I shoot a video on a Monday and I release it on a Tuesday, that gives me Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to do some practicing of this. So for 5 minutes a day, I have to put something on my calendar that says practice decrease in the latency so that you get smooth, so that you can either speak from the script or extemporaneously fast. Okay, well, that takes time to identify what the dang skill is, and then I have to put the time on the calendar to practice it. People don't do this. And you think on the job experience is going to get you excited and promoted and all that. It's not. So you've got to make the time to do this if you want to examine or if you want to advance more quickly. And then the next thing is you can outsource a lot of things, but your professional development is not one of them. So you can't outsource your skill planning and development. Don't think your companies are going to do this for you. And even if they do, they're probably not doing it well. I have not yet in my entire life, even in the ones that I built, thought they were good enough to actually get people to where they want to go, if that was all they were using. Half the time, I was just trying to create Band-Aids so somebody would be good enough. But if you don't want to be good enough. Actually, if you're still listening to me half hour into this, you don't want to be good enough. You want to be great. Otherwise, you'd have been gone. You'd have clicked me off already. Okay, so what's the fix? Well, you put that plan into place. You set the goals. Remember I said I was going to echo? Okay, identify the skills. Figure out the resources you need. I'm a resource for you. You could use my free stuff. You could use my books. You could use my blog. You can use my premium programs. I got tons of stuff for you. And then you can get other coaches that supplement whatever it is you want to do. But you got to keep going. You got to keep going. All right, so that's number 3. Number 4, not identifying the trends. This is different than the fads, and staying current with your skills. So what do I mean? All right, well, there are a lot of things that are fads, NFTs or whatever, things like that. But what's not a fad is the trend in technology is to be moving to more automated procedures. AI helps me do my job better. And what I'm doing is I'm making time to keep up by figuring out what's new and how what's new is going to fit into my designed lane to support what I do and what I bring. So as an example, when the AI tools came out and I discovered that I could clone myself, well, what that does is it makes my ability to service my clients, my milewalk Academy job search coaching program and leadership clients, I can service them better because they now have a real-time asset to ask questions to that's basically been trained on my material. There's no way I could coach another individual to know what I know, but I could coach a clone. So instead of fighting it, I totally embrace it. That's what I'm talking about. And so it's not changing what you're doing because some new thing comes about. It's figuring out how that new thing can be applied to what you want to do so that it's a force multiplier. It's an enhancer. It's not something that's distracting you and then going to be gone. And then you're going to spend a lot of time studying up and trying to get up to speed on this. And then employers aren't going to care about that anymore. So I want you to be very, very careful here. And then a big one, I could slide over this pretty quickly because we got a whole section on it, is the one thing that truly, truly hampers your career growth is not knowing the right people and not knowing enough people and not having access to people. So you're not networking professionally outside your organizations. Heck, most of you don't network inside your organizations. So I want you to put a plan together and execute it. And I'm going to give you more about this in the last section. So that was number 2. And then some of the resources, I mentioned the job search coaching program. I mentioned the leadership coaching program. I have a number of goals videos, setting goals videos on my YouTube channel. I would check those out. and then the zebra code and all that good stuff. But I do have a goal setting master class that if you don't want to get in my leadership coaching program, which it's in the library, you can grab the goal setting master class if that's something that you want to do. Okay, who's loving this so far? I'm moving right along. I got 3 more segments to go. And let's see. Hang on. I think I'm in the, there we go. All right. I will answer that in the Q&A care. Okay. Part 3, on the job, mistakes and fixes. All right, here we go. So now let's just forget all that for a second. Let's park that. All right. Forget career design for a second. Forget career growth for a second. Let's just say, Andy, this is all great. I need you to help me find a job because I can't even put food on the table. But when I find that job, I want to do okay. I want to do okay. So what are some of the things that I could do just to make sure that I could stay employed in that job? All right. Well, the first mistake is doing the bare minimum. Bare minimum. Bare minimum. How many people do the bare minimum? Show of hands. Go ahead. Go ahead. Show me. Are you a bare minimum? What's the least I could do? I ask myself, what's the most amount of pain I can endure to bring them what they need? That's what I say. All right. Do more, do it better, skill up, and be versatile. All right. So doing the bare minimum is getting it done right at 5 o'clock on a Friday when your deadline was 5 o'clock on Friday. That's one version. Maybe you could have gotten it done on Thursday. You can go to your boss and you could say, hey, I know you wanted this by Friday at 5. I got it Thursday at 5. This way, we got the whole day Friday to make improvements. Okay? Right? That's one way. Or, I know you asked me just for this, but I added this. That's another way. What's another way? Hey, I finished up Thursday, and you know what? I'm going to spend Friday morning helping so-and-so catch up. And then in the afternoon, you and I can meet to review my deliverable. Right? Just do more. A little more. Do you have any idea how many people this puts you ahead? I would venture to guess 99%. Why? Because the standard is so low, people don't even show up. Showing up will put you ahead of 80% of the people. All right? You know what I'm saying. Come on, man. All right. Number 2, not building the skills in alignment with your career path. I want to talk about the difference here that I'm talking about with skills. If you've got a job, like you're the seller or you're the marketer or whatever it is, the accountant, doesn't matter. Are you building the foundational skills that make you a better accountant, better marketer, better seller? What are they? You got to identify what they are and then work on those. So when I said, I want to be a career coach, do you know what most people do when they want to be a career coach? They go to my channel, they copy all my stuff, and then they repeat it, okay? Because they're trying to learn the content because they think it would be cool to help people. The first thing I did when I became a career coach was I said, well, what are the skills that I need? I need to be organized. I need to be consistent with my content because I have to build a community. There's all these other things that make me a better career coach. I have to give them better. I worked on my teaching. I worked on my delivery. I worked on my performance. I showed up every week. Okay, so I'm looking at, if I'm a seller, yeah, you have to learn your company's product, but you have to be organized. You have to understand human psychology and buying patterns and behaviors. You need to know how to assess and troubleshoot and problem solve. You need to understand how to reframe something so somebody looks at it differently. Those are all different skills. Those are the foundational skills. If you're the marketer, you need to understand how to create copy. Well, you could be a good writer of social media copy. That doesn't mean the copy converts. The copy converts based on how you present the information. That's a different skill. Writing is one skill. Presenting is a totally separate skill. Totally separate. So if you can't figure out the difference of these and dissect them and delineate them and parse them and then know how to focus on building it, you're going to be in trouble. Okay. Not inside your company, not building the right relationships. First reaction a lot of you are going to say is, Andy, Relationships are exhausting. I don't want to be a political kiss butt, right? That's what a lot of you are saying. And I'm saying, you don't have to go chasing the senior executives and kiss them in the ear and carry their briefcase. That's not what I'm talking about. You build relationships inside your organization, literally inside out. And if you don't know what I mean by this, I want you to think about this. Okay, think about yourself for a second. Think about yourself for a second. All right? What do? Well, I do this stuff with these things, right? That's what all of you do. That's all you do. Okay, somebody gave you something. You took that something, you did something with it, and you gave it to somebody else. All right? Maybe somebody gave you a schematic. Maybe somebody gave you a designed piece of code. You have to program it, whatever it is. It doesn't make any difference, but that's basically how it works. Now, who might be giving you something? Could be a customer giving you an order. That might be. Or it might be you turning and presenting to somebody else. It doesn't matter. Whoever you touch and whoever touches you, start building relationships there. Hey, you hand me this. If you hand it to me this way, I'll never need to kick it back to you. That'll make both our lives easier. I want to make your life easier. Hey, what do you need from me in order to ensure you have everything to give me whatever you're giving me so that it's perfect, so that we have the cleanest handoff? You turn and you're going to give it to somebody else. I'm going to give you this. What more could I give you that would make you look better, make your life easier, make you more money, get you paid more, get you a bigger bonus? I don't care what it is. You got bosses. Hey, is there anything I can do that would make your life easier to managing us, this team, the status, the whatever? That's what I'm talking about. And then start building out the relationships from there. When you are well loved inside your organization, you're going to have a job there for as long as you want, which is what I want. Okay, for you. All right, next thing, thinking the company owes you development or security. We talked a little bit about this with career growth, but I want you to make sure that you are building valuable skills that are marketable and you are building relationships. So don't think for 1 second. Don't wait around for this, because a lot of people, this is a great one. So I did a lot of recruitment for milewalk, the business services recruitment firm. And we recruited all kinds of positions that supported technology companies, consulting companies, and a number of others. But we did a lot of recruitment for technology people, or even senior level or mid-level or whatever. And when we would have people that we would recruit that would work for these large organizations where the technology, there were new products coming out. Now, I'm not saying these are fads. These are new products that are doing an old job better than the old products are doing. The new networking systems, the new switches, the new phone lines, whatever it is. And if these engineers didn't have the newest technologies to work with the better companies who had the better products, what would they do? They would build sandboxes in their basement, in their house, so that they could train up on how to do that. So that when they went to interview, when I was able to recruit them and get them an interview, they were able to pass the tech screens because they had studied up on their own. They took control of their development. That's what I'm talking about. The company doesn't owe you that. The company needs you to do the job they're paying you to do. Okay, next one. You stay. I think some of you in the chat mentioned this. You stay because you fear uncertainty. You would rather be unhappy than uncertain. And that's what I wrote in Interview Intervention. In fact, I think it's on the back flap because I pulled it as like my favorite little quote. Most people never act on new adventures. It's my opinion. People would rather live with unhappiness than uncertainty. Instead of taking a chance, they hold themselves hostage with decisions they made in their 20s, serving as the shackles. That's what I wrote. That's what I think a lot of people do. I want you to know, hold on, I'm not saying be reckless with your decisions. I'm saying there's a big world out there. Take a leap, okay? I'm just giving you a scoot. I'm telling you it's okay. I'm telling you it's okay. But I'm only telling you it's okay if for the previous 30 cards that I showed you, all that stuff's in order, meaning you understand your goals, you understand who you are, you understand your happiness factors, you understand your swim lane, you understand the trajectory, you are going to put the time in, and so on and so forth. Okay? Who's taking the leap? Who have I charged up? I challenge you to take the leap. Who's going to do it before I go on to part 4? Who's taking the leap? Tell me. Come on, man. All right, I'll put my book away. Hang on, let's see what's next. All right, this is a good one. All right, the resources for part 3 are the same as for part 1 and part 2. So we don't have a card for that one. All right? Okay, job seekers. You knew I wouldn't leave you out. Come on. All right, here's the biggest job searching mistakes. I got 6 of these, okay? Being reactive, not proactive. Who's reactive? Who just goes with what comes at them? I say that's like dancing with the tallest midget because he asked. I don't love the expression, but you get the idea. Right? Whatever comes along, I don't want to look. That takes too much time. I don't want to market myself. I don't want to contact people I don't know. All right, so what's the fix? Well, it's a multi-stepper. Identify your requirements, gather intelligence before you pick your targets. Target companies, target roles, target whatever your targets are. Then personal reach outs. I have a whole signature program that helps you do this, but I have a lot of free videos on YouTube that helps you do this. Okay, what's the second one? Not investigating yourself before you take a step. Not investigating the career or the employer. So this is making decisions with a lack of information. Let me give you some examples. So when a lot of people job search, what happens is they get fired or they're miserable or whatever it is causing the pain. And then they start looking at jobs as if those jobs are the answer. All those jobs are not the current job you have, if you know exactly what I mean, right? The only thing about those jobs that are out there is they're just not the one you have. So the possibility is that they're better and you're assuming that that's the case. But what I'd rather you do is go back to my first point about deliberately designing your career. And I don't care if you're 52 years old. It doesn't make any difference. If you're in a transition point, make a good transition. So in order to make a good transition, you need to have career clarity and be self-aware about what drives your happiness and what you're looking for. The problem with most people is they're doing it on the fly, on the back of a napkin, and it's only a list of what they do not want. Who knows what I'm saying? Give me an I'm tracking in the chat. What do I mean? Andy, my boss is a biker manager. I can't have another one of those. I'm not getting paid enough. I need more money. Fine. What about all the good things that you have? The 6 weeks of vacation and the 6% profit sharing match and the whatever, right? All those things, you just think those are going to magically appear too? You have to be whole and complete. And not only that, you then need to make sure that you are actually asking the questions to the employer that align with what it is you want. Instead of making assumptions, which is what most people do, or worse, they limit their options to whatever's coming at them, or whatever they see online, which is only 20% of all the possibilities in the world. So this is a big deal. You've got to make sure that step 1 is don't panic. Go get your list in order. If you don't know how to do that, come join me. Find a video on how to start in the right place, or join my boot camp, right? But you've got to make sure that you're doing that. All right, so that's my fix. And then I know this might hurt a bunch of you, but I want to make sure that I'm saying this thoughtfully and you get my point. A lot of you spend money and time on schooling that does absolutely nothing for you. It doesn't. And when I say nothing for you, don't get me wrong, not to talk out of both sides of my mouth. Never, ever in my entire life have I wasted 1 minute of my life. It might look like I wasted time, but if you attach proper meaning and you reflect and you look at what you learned, all of that is good. And if you go to school, you're going to pick up some concepts and you're going to meet people. But I'm talking in terms of career mistakes, in terms of costing you time and money and momentum. Okay. So what a number of people do is they hide in school. I don't care if you've been going to school for 15 years and you got every letter known to the educational institutions behind your name. You have 0 hours of experience in combat. You don't know what to do when a bullet is flying at you. So going and spending money on schooling is smart. Don't do it. Or if you know there is going to be foundational return or financial return, what do I mean? Well, I don't have a problem if, you're an administrator and you are really organized. Awesome. You know how to build good relationships. Cool. You're the admin for 6 different executives. Okay. So you know customer service, right? You've got a lot of great skills. And you say to me, Andy, it's my dream to channel my skills into being a project manager. Great. And I would like to go to the Project Management Institute and take their PMP certification because I think it will help me understand the vernacular and so forth. If you are 100% committed to being a project manager and you would like to spend some time to add that to your resume because it's going to help you have better and more intellectual conversations in an interview with somebody who is willing to give you a chance on being a project manager, go do it. But I also need to know from you that you are 100% committed and that no matter what happens, you will eventually get a project management job. Period. Hard stop. Okay, but a lot of you don't do that. You go and you take certifications because you think it's going to make you more marketable when employers don't care. You go and you get MBAs and MSs and PhDs and all that stuff, and then maybe you use them for a few years, and then you want to go into the commercial world and no one cares. So I just want you to be careful. No one can ever take your education away from you, and a lot of education is good at the right time for the right reason, but you're not going to get your $200,000 back. You won't. Just because when you go get your MBA when you're 30, you're just not going to. Okay. You try harder because you think shoving your resume into the applicant trashing system is better. If you are not getting interviews, if you are not getting job offers, your effort is the least of your worries. It's not your effort. It's your entire approach and strategy. I have stopped looking at LinkedIn because my feed is flooded with nothing but complaints about how people are working so hard and they don't know why everybody hates them and the ATS hates them and the world hates them and everybody owes them a living. That's not true. You're just doing a lot more of the wrong tactics. It's in the wrong direction. I get a little amped up about this one. Okay. So trying harder is not your answer. Do less, in fact, of that. Do more of getting a better sequence and a proven structure. What does that look like? It looks like having career clarity. It looks like the requirements that I talked about. Get yourself in a position to market yourself effectively so that people actually can immediately see you at the right level and the impact you're going to provide. But in order to be seen, if you're shoving your resume into the applicant trashing system, it doesn't matter how marketable you are or how awesome a marketer you are. If you're going that route, you have a very low probability of being seen. So you need to run a proactive search. That means reach outs. And then when you get the interviews and the interviews start coming, because they will, if you're getting beautiful market positioning in front of the right people, meaning decision makers, not gatekeepers, then you need to make sure you know how to market yourself from a storytelling standpoint, and so on and so forth. So you need to evaluate the strategy. All right. And then again, as an echo, you're using the applicant trashing system too much and you're limiting yourself with the opportunities that are truly available. We do survey after survey, year after year, and 80% of hires were not publicized. So we survey employers. What percentage of the people you hired, this is the short form, came from job postings? 20%. Right, because a lot of positions were hired without having to put a posting up. It was done on the sly or employee referrals or whatever. Or, right, we're canning a bunch of people, we're hiring a bunch of new people. This is not the place. Systems don't give people jobs, right? Companies don't give people jobs. Systems don't give people jobs. People give people jobs. So what's the fix? If you're not familiar with my job search challenge, there's a free playlist of a couple of videos on my YouTube channel. You can watch it. It's targeting 3 organizations a day, finding individuals, one at each of those organizations, and sending them thoughtful messages. This will restructure your approach and your strategy. Believe me, that 3x3x3 takes a lot less effort than shoving your resume, being a resume spit and Pez dispenser into the ATSs. Believe me, it'll save you a lot of time. And then number 6 on this one is you're reporting your history instead of telling stories. I don't care if you don't like marketing, and I don't care if you don't like sales. The stone cold truth, the capital T truth, is you are in the biggest marketing and sales job of your life if you are job searching. The world doesn't care that you don't like it. So you need to figure out a way of advertising yourself, getting your material in front of the right people. And when you do that, you need to be telling stories about how their life is going to change based on how you've helped others change their life. You as a buyer, whatever it is that you buy from a services standpoint, which is what you're offering as employees, is predicated on the outcome. The fix is the value and the transformation using illustrations, not all your boring work history. 99% of what I do is incredibly, incredibly boring. It is. So what I tell you is less than 1%. That's it. You don't see all the things that have to occur in order for the outcome to happen, but you need to know the outcome. You need to start approaching your resume and your interview responses in this manner. You need to talk about value creation in the form of transformation, and resume needs to highlight impact with select accomplishments that completely align with the employer's goals and problems. Your resume, I know this may sound strange, is not about you. Your resume is about the problems you're going to solve for them. If you don't understand that, your job search is going to drag. If you get into an interview and you don't understand that, you're not going to get a job offer. So this is a huge, huge deal. Huge deal. This one probably costs you the most because even when you get in there or you get close, you fumble at the 1 yard line if you can't do this. And so I have resources for you. I have that job search challenge playlist. Any of my videos on the CAR technique, this is my interview storytelling technique. And if you want the premium stuff, job search coaching program, which is all souped up and new as of today, as of like 2 hours ago. It's totally new. All right, there you go on that. All right, one more to go. I'm a little behind schedule because I was hoping this was maybe an hour, but this is pretty quick. All right, relationships and networking. Okay, I know a lot of you know some of the problems, but I don't think you're going to realize the fixes until I say them. All right. Not having a network map aligned to your goals. Who understands me? Not having a network map. What is a network map, Coach Andy? Okay. Well, the first thing is, a la the first umpteen cards I showed you, did you set your goals? Did you set your goals? So one I used was, I want to be a speaker for my industry. Awesome. You wanting to be that speaker? It isn't going to happen unless what? You build a map. What's the map going to say? The map's going to say, this faceless, nameless person hires the speakers for these conferences. Maybe it's 3 different people. Maybe it's one person that does them all. Figure out who that is. Start searching, start Googling, start AIing, start calling your friends, start contacting speakers who spoke at the last year. Guess what? Speakers who spoke at the last year, they got to be on your map. Why? Because they're going to get you to the nameless, faceless person that you're going to have to convince that you're good enough to speak. Okay. Well, then you got to build a system. When the hell are you going to call those people? How about every week? So the system is a systematic way that says, so I've talked about this a time or two. I have the book coming out in October. I'm so excited about this book. I've never been this excited about any book because this is my best one ever, period, hard stop. And one of the things that I wanted to do this time was to reach out to some people that I didn't know, best-selling authors or people that I admire, And I said, I'm gonna call some friendlies. I'll call some people I like that I want to get quotes from. And I'm gonna call some people that I don't like. And the minute I hit 10, I'm gonna stop, which I did. But I had to have a system. So that system says during these days or these weeks or this month, every week, you need to contact X number of people, because I had to take a guess at what my hit rate was going to be. Now, my hit rate was a lot higher. My hit rate was like way higher than I thought it was going to be, which meant my copy was good. So, but I had a system. I never thought, nothing was winged. Everything was constructed. But the system I'm talking about is I knew who to go after, and I knew that I needed to craft something to say to them. Now, yours can be even easier. I'll talk about this in a minute. All right, you're not networking weekly or consistently. Well, part of what you should be doing is you're not networking, and I'm talking about while you're employed. You're not doing this, and you're not expanding your network, and what's ultimately happening is you're not staying in motion. So I want you to stay in motion. I want you to build a system. Now, the system is going to have the network map. The system is going to have it's going to be in alignment with your goals. You're not just going to call people just to call them. I'm not wasting my time calling somebody unless they're in alignment with what I need to accomplish. Okay. So I'm not going to go, why would I call publishers if I wasn't going to write a book? Why would I call acquisitions editors if I wasn't going to write a book, or agents or whatever? I wouldn't do that. It's not like, oh, well, maybe, no, I'm going to write a goal. I'm going to put a map together. I'm going to contact people. Well, when you stay in motion, do you want to, wait, I'm okay with, Andy, I'm an engineer. I just would like to meet other engineers. Awesome. What companies do you want to meet the engineers at? Go to LinkedIn, find a bunch, write them down. Then what are you going to give them? How many are you going to contact a week? Every Friday morning over coffee, are you going to send 5 emails out, 2 emails, 1 email? I don't care, anything. You send 1 email a week, that's 50 a year while you're working. And some of those people are going to get back to you. Or you might say, no, I need 1 response a week. So I'm going to send 1 every day until I get 1 hit. Then I'm going to stop that week. Fine. That's a system. And then biggest issue is you only network when you need something transactional. I want you to make sure that you have a system, that you're staying in motion, that you're not making it transactional. And the easiest way to do that is to operate all year long and to give first. What if you just said, Andy, I'm an engineer, I'm a cloud engineer, and I want to just keep my network healthy. I love my job. Great. Every Friday, find an engineer. Say, hey, this is me. I work at such and such. I noticed it looks like you work in a similar capacity at such and such. I've really been making more of a concerted effort to reach out and grow my relationships. I really loved your background because I just came across this article that said this, that, and the other thing. If you'd ever love to get together and connected and talk shop, I'd love to do it. What the hell's wrong with that? Nothing. I just gave you the template. Go do that every week for a year. You'll know 50 new people, because if you just keep doing that, or to 2 people a week, half of them are going to get back to you. Okay. And then, well, what else? What do you need to do? Well, most of you don't follow through on your promises, or you don't make a promise. So what I want you to do is I want you to turn, because everybody who's read the Zebra Code knows that on page 146, Coach's formula for I will buy via is right there in the middle of the page. Who knows my I will buy via formula? It's pretty awesome, right? What is my I will buy via formula? You're communicating with somebody. I will get back to you by Friday via email with this information. I will get back to you by Friday via text with the article. Whatever it is, put yourself on the hook and you will actually stay in motion. Shoot for 1 a week. Shoot for 1 a week. Give stuff. Have a speed rack of gifts. Hey, I would love to send you my coach's skill building book. It really helped me. Here's a coupon. Okay, you don't have to be that elaborate. Hey, I got this article. Send somebody else's article. Maybe they'll look at your LinkedIn profile and notice you write articles. As a presentation I gave. It doesn't matter. Send something. Okay. Number 5 and final and number 26 here. Going to job searching networking meetings. Don't do this. Everybody there is looking for a job. What I would rather you do instead is choose value-added networking meetings. If you're in finance, you go to the finance executives networking group meeting once a quarter so that you go meet people who are employed who could give you a job and who you could expand your network. And, right, there's no pressure if you're employed, and if you're unemployed, right, don't do that. You want to rub elbows with people, you want to learn concepts, and you want to make it more valuable and worth your time. If you go to job search networking meetings, this is a huge waste of time because most people there, they're all unemployed. They're all looking for a job. That doesn't make them bad people. I'm talking about you and where's a more prudent use of your time. And I know I alluded to some of the fixes, but I have a video called Business Networking, How to Build Professional Relationships, where I give you the formula that I use to manage my networking. And it goes up and down in waves, but it's pretty consistent. I'm always meeting people. There you go. A half an inch thick, 64 cards. If you enjoyed that, please click the like button. Make sure you subscribe. I wanted to get it done in an hour. I'm guessing if I shave off the opening minute or two, I'm pretty close. Let's do some Q&A if you're here with me live. If you're watching this on the recording, I'll see you next week. Or make sure you stop on by next week if you're watching this live. January 15th, my job search networking webinar. All right. What do we got? All right. Questions. Kara, how we doing? Before we get to the questions, I did mention, I think I snuck this in. My job search coaching program, I thought long and hard, and I spent a lot of time completely revamping the material, the way I bundle things and what's offered, the value I'm providing in the different packages. And we just published the page today. Literally, I slapped up a new video that better explains the program. If you are interested, I'm not going to go into this, I would love it if you checked out the page. This is it now. It's Andrew LaCivita, job. Kara, can you actually... Can you pop that in the chat and maybe pin our newsletter in the chat as well? So you'll be able to go through all this, see how the program lays out. It is, if you are interested in the system, I go through this in the video about career clarity, market positioning, proactively searching, and so on. You can check out all the goods here. We have some really, really great, it's a lifetime deal. There's a lot of people, a lot of places. You get the idea. You can check out the different packages. One of the things that you might notice is I'm really presenting this to you as a complete career system. This is not about finding your next job. It's about finding your next job now and creating repeatable capabilities for the rest of your life. It is a complete career system. And one of the things I've done is I've bundled my leadership program in some of the packages. And I've also created an elite cohort that will be meeting with me on a weekly basis if you're interested in that. So check the page out. It is on special. The prices went up, but the value went up. So we are trying to ease you into the new pricing. So check that out. If you have any questions, the new pricing is good till next Friday. At 11 a.m., we have a coaching session with members of that program. So check it out if you're interested. If you got any questions, email us at support, or you can ask me here. But I just wanted you to know I worked long and hard, and Kara worked long and hard on that, and I absolutely love where we are with it. So my two signature programs, the job search coaching program and the leadership coaching program, are all souped up. Everything's set for 2026. I'm so excited. I'm so happy with the value we're going to be able to provide you. So check it out if you need some help. All right, Grace, How long does it take you to write 1,000 words a day? Well, it depends. So here's how I do it. Every day I write. So it's when I have a book, every day, I don't take any days off. Okay. Resting is not, that's not how it works. We don't rest. That's not how creativity works. Actually, you might wonder about that. There's a formula and a schedule. It says if today is the day 0 and I want this book done in 55 days, that means I write every day and the quota count is 1,000 words. I don't need to write Hemingway every day. I need to write every day. The words need to be manufactured. Okay, so that's goal number 1. That's it. That's the goal. It doesn't matter how awesome it is. It doesn't matter how bad it is. 1,000 words. Okay. I have to know the night before where I am in the book. The minute I get up and I finish out my morning routine or whatever it is, and it's usually quicker when I'm writing a book because I want to get to the writing right away. When I get to this desk, there is literally no thought. Meaning, boom, down, lights up, booklet. I grab the book. I know the book is actually likely open. It's open to the page in the logbook. It says, you're here. Open the dang thing. Bang, manuscript goes up. There's a green mark right there. That's where I am. That's the section I'm writing. I already have the outline. Go. So there's no latency. And then I start writing. And I do not edit. You do not edit. Here's what people do. They write and then they want to read Jimmy the sentence. Like, what are you doing? This is going to take you forever. Just write it out. You could clean it up later. So I write. And not only do I just write that section, but I only write that section in the format according to my formula about what I'm doing. So what I do is I have different sweeps through the manuscript. So sweep 1 is I have to just get the teaching points down. So like when I write chapter 1, I don't write line 1, chapter 1. I go to the second part of chapter 1 and I start writing the formula for you. Here's the steps you need to follow. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, did I get everything in? The story that goes in chapter 1 gets written later. The analogies inside the steps get written later. I don't write that. So each sweep through the book has its own purpose. In fact, I'm teaching this, I think, the 2 weeks from now. It has a purpose. There's no inertia. So the 1,000 words, I can crank that out in an hour, hour and a half. So there's no monkeying about. Some days 2 hours maybe, but I don't understand these people that spend 5 years writing a book. I just think that it's maybe there's more surveying and other data they need to capture. I'm writing how-to books, nonfiction, and that's how I do it. And if you want to know the exact formula I use, join me on January 22nd and I'll explain it. But I'm fast. I'm super fast because there's no inertia. There's no inertia whatsoever. Let's see. Is Andy putting together another mastermind group? Actually, I'm not putting together another mastermind group. I'm putting together a premium package of 6 weekly sessions for anybody who wants to foot the bill. Now, you, Amanda, are an existing player, so you don't have to foot the whole bill. You just got to foot the delta, which is, I don't know what the delta will be for you, but so in addition, everybody gets the base package, everybody gets the online coaching, everybody gets the Andy AI, everybody gets the videos. We then I decided to add 6 basically in a row sessions for people who want to come to those. Only the people in the elite cohort can come to those. March 2nd through April 6th. They're Monday mornings. And if you're an existing member of the job search coaching program, you'll just pay the difference of whatever you've already paid. And Kara will work that out with you. You can upgrade through any of the packages. And so that's going to be, it's a more expensive package, but there's going to be less people. But my mastermind had 6 people in it. And that was, and we're actually still have a couple sessions with those masterminders, but that was a longer period of time. and it was a smaller number of people. And all of my 6 masterminders, if you're listening to me, I know some of you already have jobs, but you're invited to the cohort, no charge. So there's a number of things that I'm going to explain next Friday to the members at the coaching session. But yes, that's a great question. Trish Berry, just head to the page and email Kara. I think the 6-week cohort's going to be a hit. I thought long and hard about how I wanted to do this. So if you're an existing member of the program, just ask Kara what the deal is. Let's see. SH Vass, is that does Shane have a new handle maybe? The issue I'm running into is that I will boss hunt and not get a response. So I submit the resume in the ATS. If I try and find somebody in the org, the job usually closes. Okay. So I understand that can happen. And by the way, I know I had a number of cards here on the ATS. My dream is for you to stay out. Some of you are going to get your jobs that way. But the one thing that I would do is I would do anything that I possibly could to, before I went into the ATS, I would try to find a boss or a man. It doesn't have to be the boss. You can even go up level to the executive. Hey, it looks like you manage this whole area. I wasn't quite sure who would be in charge of me, flower up the language. But I noticed this about you. I really appreciate what you're building, blah, blah, blah. Then try the boss. If you can't, try the boss. If you can't, maybe you go up. Go directly to the recruiter. Go to try to a teammate. There's try anybody that you can find to introduce you to anybody in the company that gives you any kind of intel on who that might be. And then go to the ATS. And by the way, last point, just because the job closes doesn't mean the job's closed, okay? Because they might say, well, we got, 3 people we sort of like. Well, I got news for you. If I'm recruiting, and we used to do this at one of my consulting companies, and, they might put a posting up and the recruiters would recruit, and our recruiters were good because they would be outreach recruiters. And then they would say, okay, we took the post. I'm like, hell, hold on. So-and-so gave me an employee referral, or wait, somebody else sent me their resume directly to me. I want to talk to this. It's like, yeah, that's fine. They're not going to say no. If a boss says, I want to talk to this person, this person looks awesome, all the recruiter cares about, or the HR person cares about, is closing the dang position. But the boss might have said, I don't need any more at this point because we have enough candidates in the pipe. But you don't know how it turned out, or you don't know if it's still going. Whoa, this is really long. Let me see if... all right, let's see if I can get this in. For a career returner who concluded entrepreneurial chapter, okay, like a client who sunset her business, okay, we have a lot of those. We have a lot of those in our program. The past corporate job function is no longer a direction you aspire. That makes sense. I get that. Given the current job market, former colleagues keep sending me jobs of the exact function. I'm going to make a comment about that. Deep down, I don't desire to do that anymore, but I don't want to kill opportunities to drive towards the direction I want to go. But the current market prefers people who worked at the exact same or similar function. Can I stick with the direction I want to go at the price of foregoing opportunities that seem to have a higher chance? Okay, so I'm going to give you some general comments, and then I'm going to give you very specific comments, because I want to reach the broad, not just you, because this is a phenomenal question, but the broader audience here. So number one, I just read that. You're making a ton of assumptions. Okay, just because somebody tells you this doesn't make it so. It makes it so from their vantage point of what they're noticing, and they're not lying to you. They're just sharing what they're seeing. But also, are they contacting 15 people a week? Are they contacting 100 people a month, or whatever it might be? So number one, their data points are minimal. I don't care what anybody says. You do not know. I do not know, which is why we go at a high velocity and we try to collect the data. That's point one. Point two, the art of the possible. If you are reconnecting with old colleagues who you haven't talked to in 3 years or 10, this is true for all of you. You are frozen in time. Guess what? The good news is you didn't age, okay? Because they froze you. You were an awesome business analyst 18 years ago when we worked together. Are you still doing that? No, I'm the senior vice president of blah, blah now, right? I get it. You get it, but they don't get it. So if you're in job search mode, you go talk to whoever you need to talk to about whatever position you need to talk to them about. And then you explain your new awesome level of whatever. And so I'm always having the discussions because I want more swings at the plate. And even if it goes nowhere, you're gathering detailed firsthand data rather than secondhand or thirdhand data. So can I stick with the direction I want? Yes. At the price of foregoing opportunities that seem to have a higher chance. Don't do that. Meaning, I want you to go for what you want to, proactively, a la what I described. And I want you taking the discussions with the people who froze you in time, who can give you an entry point into their organization. Or if a recruiter calls you and says, hey, I noticed you were one of these and I know you got your own business, but I really need one of these, you go talk to the recruiter. Easy peasy. The point is go, go, go. And you don't have to stop. 3 by 3 by 3 each day. Go pursue what you want. The other time, see what's available to manufacture discussions. Get in there and get talking to them. Sell the heck out of yourself. Right? That's a great question. Kelly, how are you? Kelly Kennedy, lapping. 9131. I don't know what the 9131 is. Do you think a LinkedIn profile is still necessary? I want to shut it down. Can't believe the negative hate and political comments that show up daily. Kelly, first thing is I want to say I am sorry because I am seeing it too, and it is awful. I mean, I cringe when I look at LinkedIn, but I still go to LinkedIn because I care about all of you. And so I want to know if my stuff is helping. So I go out there. But it's like I do one of these, like, okay, I got to open up LinkedIn. Right? It's one of those. Do I think it's necessary? Yes. Yes. So put your profile up. Then you have instruction in your job search coaching program library because you're a paying member to our Google Boolean techniques where you can go to Google and then you can put your search terms in the strings that we teach you how to write. And then it surfaces the LinkedIn profiles and then just go look at the profiles, right? So you're not getting thrown in LinkedIn jail. And then do your reach outs. You can either direct email or you can inbox on LinkedIn and spend as little time as possible watching your feed. That would be my recommendation for your sanity, for your job search efficiency. Go get them. All right. Let's see. Ian, if after doing the entire requirements, the tools, okay, the organization, the role, the boss hunting, to all your targets, I guess a number of times, and no love, is it okay to pitch services, no strings? So what you're asking is, should I take a different approach? I'm going to answer you in general. A general statement is I'm about collecting the data, which you seem to have done, but I'm about examining why I'm not getting any love. I find it hard to believe, I find it hard to believe that when you send messages to a lot of people, if the message is good, I find it hard to believe that there is no love. Meaning it might be the way the message was phrased. It could be to who you're sending it. Maybe you didn't have that strong relationships. I don't know, because I don't know what you're sending, and I don't know to whom you're sending it, and I don't know how the message reads. And I do a lot of course correcting with people based on their messaging. Meaning in my one-to-one coaching, I say, show me what you're sending, and then I'm saying, here's exactly why they're not responding. Here's what we need to fix, and then going about it that way. Now, let's just say, sake of argument, that you're sending a good message and a resume that's in alignment and you're not getting any love. If you want to alter your message to say, hey, I really would love to get engaged, I'm open to flexible arrangements in how we do that, and don't get specific, meaning there could be, I don't know, commission-based stuff, there could be back-end bonus stuff, there could be project-based work that's paid in installments, performance, or whatever. There's many different ways to do this. Or maybe they hire you as a contractor, but don't be specific and just say, hey, I'm interested and I'm actually flexible in the working arrangement. The most important thing for me is to do valuable work with people I like or whatever. So is it okay? It's okay to do that, but that's never. So like that would be like me saying, okay, wait, I just raised prices on my bootcamp page. Okay. And you might say, well, Andy, geez, the market's really terrible. No, hold on. My job is not to be in sync with the market. And my job is not to lower my prices. Okay. It's not. It's to create immense amount of value and charge a rate that when somebody looks at it, they say, this is what's going to happen to me. Here's what I get. This is worth way more than what he's asking financially. I'm going to buy it. I'm looking for those people. Okay. So my prices do not go down ever. They go up. They just keep going up. And I just keep adding stuff to it. Okay. So for you, I don't want you to, what you're saying is it okay for me to drop my price to zero or to something very risky on my end? And what I would say to you is, I would examine the approach you're taking, because there's no way. Wait, when you hit somebody, okay, I get emails and DMs every day, people trying to pitch me stuff. I can't believe they're still pitching me stuff after 5 or 6, no responses, which means they're using an automated system to do it. So I think that I would challenge you to see, is the front end stuff in order? So like when I have any program, one of the things that I really challenged myself to do, I took a cold, hard look at my material. The quality of the product, I'm really proud of. I am. Nothing's perfect, but it's really good. Okay. Then I looked at the way I marketed it and the stories I would tell around the performance and what the transformation and all that. And I didn't like it. I said, I need to blow this up. And it's still the same guts, okay? But the presentation of the guts and the product and the services and the transformation isn't going to help them understand truly what's going to happen to them and what they're truly enrolling in. I literally touched every single letter and period on the page. It doesn't look anything like it ever looked before. And it's also a completely new offer. And so I have to improve my marketing and my selling, and I have to improve my presentation, and I have to add more value. That's what I did. And that's what I want you to do. All right. Paul B. Andy, as a manager targeting director as next step, how would you set up your LinkedIn profile to sell you best without being obvious to your current company colleagues you're looking for? I would not recommend that you do anything that. Okay, so wait. Let me back up here. I love that you have a kind of a stepping stone, but I don't know what manager to director means, because one company's manager is way more senior than another company's vice president. It's true. I know that from working with hundreds and hundreds of companies. So the title to me is irrelevant. So I'm looking at, what is the value I'm providing? If I looked at your LinkedIn profile, I would not care one bit what your company calls you. I bypass all that and I look at what is Paul B doing? And that's what's most important. So the impact you're having is where the change goes, not the titling, not any of that stuff. What happens when Paul gets working on a project? That's what I want to know. So if you're going to change your LinkedIn profile, make it more accomplishments-based, make it more transformation-based. And that's what I would do. And then I would get in with an organization where I'm able to provide value, do it really well, high level of quality, right? Significant value attained. And then I know if I'm getting in the right organization, they're going to elevate me based on my performance and my track record. Does your director position need to be your next step? That'd be great if it was, but I wouldn't care about that. I would care about, am I going to a company where I can add a better impact? Am I getting paid more? I just want you to know, I don't care what headlines you're reading. I am like, I have before the Christmas holiday, my schedule was filled with people negotiating increases in pay. And I'm waiting now, we start up the coaching sessions again, and it's filled with people who are final panel interviews and all this stuff for great jobs. So they're out there. They are. I tell you that not to discourage you, but to encourage you. But I also want you to be, smart. I will not use the word reasonable because being reasonable never changed anything. Being unreasonable does. But I want you to be smart about how you target. That's important. And how you present yourself is important. It really is. You got to show the value that you're creating. Do not look at my LinkedIn profile as an example. I don't care about my LinkedIn profile. You're not hiring me as your coach because you think my LinkedIn profile is good. All right, let's see. What else? Ron K., how do I cover the 6-month gap on my LinkedIn profile from my last job? You don't. Just explain it. I was laid off. I've been looking. I haven't found the right opportunity. I know the layoff hurts you, and I'm sorry about that. But it feels worse to you. Employers are looking at you, regardless of what happened, and they're saying, can Ron add value here? If you got the goods, I'll take you. And if the fact that you're not working is even better because you could start right away. And Ron, you might want to check out my, how to handle employment gap video. I have a number of them on the YouTube channel, and some of them are resume writing related, and some of them are interview related. All right, let's see. If I have to get going, folks. If you are here with me live and not watching this after January 16th, I guess, on January 15th, I got the job search networking webinar that we're going to go through. It's an straight hour of teaching. I know that because I already created it. And so we're going to be doing it live on the YouTube channel. I'm going to be here with you. We're going to do a Q&A and all that good stuff. And then on Friday the 16th, I'm going to be meeting with members of my job search coaching program. That program is now on sale through next Friday. And this is the biggest discount you will ever get on this program. So we are trying to ease you into the new structure and the new pricing. So if you're interested, please check it out. Get with us at support@milewalk.com if you have any questions. But this is the best rate we're going to have this year, because the next promotion that we do, which is going to be sometime a little bit later, like February and beyond, the new pricing will be settling in. So I just want to let you know that. On the 22nd, I will be here at Live Office Hours, and I will be talking about communication and how to create effective communications of any kind. And then on the 23rd, I'm meeting with members of my leadership coaching program to do our annual skill building lesson. And then on Monday, the 26th, I'm meeting with members of my job search mastermind to do their skill building for the year. So we're going to be meeting with them Monday morning. Hopefully my masterminders got the memo. And then let's see. And then the following Thursday, the 29th, I'm here and we're talking about the ATS, I think. It's all on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. If you're not on my newsletter, jump on my newsletter. Just go to milewalkacademy.com and sign up for the newsletter. Any of my boot campers that are interested in learning about the cohort and any of that good stuff, or want to switch over to VIP or anything like that, just email us at support. Kara will help you with all of that. Cool? Great to be back with y'all. I hope I know there were a lot of things that we covered, but I wanted to go 26 for 2026. If you need me, you know where to find me. I look forward to my coaching sessions that are well ramped up now. I'll see all my people individually here over the next days and the ones I've had this week were great. And I'm just happy to be back with you. Here's to wishing you a great 2026. See you soon.